just start killing Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
So convoluted.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a backstory.
I mean, that's how comics go, though. The longer that's why so much retconning happens, because it just gets so tangled after a while.
That's what the crises are for. It's wiping some crap off the table.
Yeah.
Refocusing.
This is why I like The Boys. The Boys comic isn't this convoluted. It's just superheroes are being like. Have you guys ever heard of The Boys?
I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
No, it's made by. Oh man, I don't remember who makes it right now.
Is it on Image?
It's Dynamite Entertainment. Dynamite Entertainment publishes it. Both Marvel and DC said they wouldn't publish it because it puts superheroes in such a bad light.
Marvel owns Dynamite, though. It's one of their imprints.
Well, maybe it was just DC then. But, so, they go, Dynamite's printing it, and it's basically superheroes are on the world, but they're all egotistical or just they feel like they're better than everyone. The Boys is a group that's backed by the CIA, but has no affiliation with it other than the money. And they go through and they blackmail the superheroes to keep them down and quiet. And
That's interesting.
Well, Mark Miller wrote an interesting story recently. I can't remember the title of it for some reason, but there's a conflict in the Middle East. Nobody's enlisting in the military, so the government promises everyone who enlists a superpower. They take a pill and they get a superpower. So then all these idiots enlist in the army just so they can fly or shoot lasers out of their eyes or something.
Is that some kind of false promise, or is it?
No, they get the superpowers.
I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah,
yeah, really, I'd enlist if I got a superpower.
if I can fly.
Well, I'd enlist and then I'd enlist and then
You're Aquaman.
I'd go over the wall.
No. In the desert?
Oh god. It's sort of like Aqualad in the very beginning, when he could only survive on land for an hour at a time before he had to wet himself.
I really hated such highly specific superheroes.
Yes.
It's like Aquaman is only useful in one type of adventure, period. And
Or underwater.
yeah,
I
exactly.
think that's why he just broods down there now.
Yeah.
Because he was completely impotent in the JLA.
Yeah, like aquatic villains make much more sense than aquatic heroes. Like when Namor was a villain, that was a much better.
Another kind of strange dialogue is in page 140 where he says, "It stops here, Mister." Like, Mister?
You're being so polite.
Yeah, it's something that I imagine.
Father saying.
Well, in a sense, actually, yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, he's being patronized.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Listen, Mr. Apocalypse. Where's the end?
But in that
Wagging his
He says
finger
it stops here. This insanity ends in Metropolis, but in all the previous things, it's like, I have to stop him before he gets to Metropolis.
Right. Yeah.
I have to stop him before he gets to Metropolis.
This is where I stop him, right here.
Okay, he's gotten to Metropolis, I have to stop him here.
Right, exactly.
There's no going forward.
It's like this failure after failure after failure, and then finally he's like, all right, I have to kill myself.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, I saw the Doomsday, the fight scene, the DVD, where it was like the animated.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it or not.
They did it recently. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, and I saw the last fight scene.
Well, the Doomsday movie.
Right, the movie. Yeah. It's got. I didn't want to.
Well, it's basically the first 15 minutes is the fight with Doomsday.
Right.
And it's just Superman. There's no JLA
Right, exactly.
or anything like
They
that.
ignore all the.
They ignore the JLA. They ignore him going across the country. He just shows up and he's like 20 miles outside of Metropolis.
Right.
And then that's just the first 15-20 minutes of the movie. And then they go into Aftermath with Lex Luthor cloning Superman and creating his own evil Superman.
So
the
beginning was the end of this.
Yes.
Oh, that's okay. I just
and
saw.
then it goes into
Aftermath.
then it goes more into the Aftermath.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's where most of the story arc was.
Yeah.
Was following.
Right.
World without Superman.
But how he died, it was much more like this. This is very. I guess, more subtle because in the DVD, like Superman brought him up to space literally, and then came down on him, like, and just caused this crater. So
they do mention the crater.
Here's something I don't understand. It's on this page, one of the pages, the one with the Daily Planet in the background.
Oh, okay. Which one was that?
Where Lois is holding him, or no?
Where they're both fighting, and the glass is all shattered, and there's a group of people behind them.
Yeah, where's that?
The glass is just shattered, and the people, the huge crowd behind them, isn't running away while the glass is falling.
And they say, "Oh, watch out for the glass!"
Yeah,
dude mentions it though.
Yeah, that was the page with the head really funky looking.
Yeah.
But damn,
looks like Fred Flintstone there.
Yeah, that's. I mean, these last. I mean, these are the most compelling panels are the last.
Yeah.
They have this really amazing. And then like the scene where they obviously have to include the mother and the father, and then it just like it goes through that standard sequence of looking back at this person's life, and then finally at the end. And also the talk about where the parents brought up an interesting point about that they're treating it like entertainment, and that's definitely like I think it comes back to very much a postmodern kind of look at it's right.
Because they don't think anything bad can happen.
Well, when the viewer, exactly. The public is viewing this all on television, that, and these kind of I guess modern archetypes of the age indicates this a previous understanding like that we're looking at it as entertainment, but they have this like sense that they understand the distinction between entertainment and non-entertainment. And I think that was an interesting point. That's like kind of subtle.
Well, and that the order that Superman represents is fragile, and that you don't always win. It's like the people who went to a picnic on the battlefield at the beginning of the Civil War.
Yeah, it's like there's that sense of the quote real, that doesn't. It's elusive for some people. I think that there's that confusion between media and reality, and that's where I think people like Columbine happens. They can't understand the distinction between like they hear something like a song or they hear a movie or like watch them, and then they think that or they embody that and then directly associate that with reality. I think, and then we react in that sense.
I'm gonna have to take issue because I think that the confusion between fantasy and reality angle that the media constantly plays is overdrawn. I think it's simply nonsensical or so aberrational as to be irrelevant. I think that the media does shape our perception in lots of ways, but most of them are very subtle. It's not that people confuse obviously fantastical things for reality, it's that they aren't aware they're being lied to. Like, have you ever read London Fields? It's a Martin Amis novel. It's really good. You should give it a read. But one of the characters, he's kind of a caricature of a lower class type and has difficulty distinguishing TV from real life. Or more to the point, he has difficulty recognizing difficulty identifying the intersection of TV and reality. Like, he thinks what happens on the TV is real, but when confronted with being on TV, he just loses his crap. He's just confused and doesn't understand how to cope with the idea of the two things intersecting. And I feel like that is a much more common issue that people have, the idea that there's the world in the TV and the world I live in. And if anything, it's an enhanced separation.
Well, you're talking about people without schizophrenia. I think the actual direct definition of a schizophrenic is that the implicit and the explicit are the same. That, and I feel like that there are those that almost literally cannot discern. And I think it's partially because of I guess lack of awareness, of what's going on. But insofar as the media is almost directly talking to the individual, and I think that when the explicit and the implicit are there's no longer a strict line. That's when schizophrenia happens.
But I guess what I'm getting at is that if you look at the Columbine kids, there wasn't a breakdown